Hey, what's up guys, Jaeky here. I'm a top 400 Radiant player and today I'm going to be taking a look at the VAXEE PA Black and reviewing it. Shout out to VAXEE for sending this out for review. They actually also sent me their NP01S as well as their XE to review, which I made a video on and I'll leave that in the description below if you're interested. But in that video, I just took an overview of the PA Black. I didn't really go in depth on it. In this video, I'm going to be doing an in-depth review. So with any peripheral that I review, I always give it the 1 week rule where I use it consistently for a week before I give my final thoughts on it. And so yeah, with the PA Black, I've been using it for the past week consistently. So I feel like I'm ready to give my in-depth review on this mousepad now. First things first, let's go over all of the specs of the mousepad. You can find it on VAXEE's website, which I'll also leave in the description below. It is currently retailing for $29 USD. If we scroll down, there is no heat sublimation on the surface, so there's no coating whatsoever. That means you're going to get a consistent feel and it won't really change over time. If we go down here, the surface is obviously cloth. It is considered a control pad and the base is going to be fully rubber. The dimensions are 470 by 390 millimeters and it's 3.5 millimeters thick. This is the size, length and width wise is the exact same as the Zowie GSR2, which I have right here. And this is going to be the pad that I'm going to be comparing it to the most because I feel like the PA Black and the GSR2 are very, very similar in terms of feel. So in terms of plushness, there's really no squish whatsoever. It's a pretty hard pad. So when you press down on it, you're not going to get anything like an Artisan Soft where your finger, you know, obviously squishes into it. You're not going to get anything like that on the PA Black because it is a pretty hard pad. Like I said, this is very similar, in my opinion, to the GSR2, which I have right here pulled up. So the GSR2 is $35 USD, a little bit more expensive, but the dimensions are exactly the same. They're pretty much the same size. One thing to note about the PA Black is that there are no stitched edges, as you can see here. So durability might be a concern for some of you, but honestly, it shouldn't be an issue unless you're very harsh with your mouse pad. I don't really see it being an issue, but it might fray in the future, but that's not something I can test right now, obviously. But that is something to keep in mind, is that there is no stitch edges, whereas the GSR2 does have stitched edges. One thing to note is that the PA Black does come curled up in a box. When you take it out, you're gonna have to lie it down on your table, but I actually had no issues with the PA Black lying flat. Actually, after a couple of hours, it lied completely flat on my table with no curls whatsoever. And also, it doesn't slide around at all. It actually sticks to my desk very well. This isn't something that I can say about the GSR2. In fact, that's one of my biggest complaints and gripes with the GSR2. The GSR2, I've had it on my desk for over a week now, right? And the GSR2 is still not flat. Like, the edges here are still curled. Obviously, I could probably fix this if I put some weights on it overnight, but that's really not something I should have to do with a mouse pad. Like, the PA Black just lied flat after a couple hours, whereas my GSR2, even after a week, is still curled. And also the grip on the table with the GSR2 is not as good as the PA Black. Like I said, I didn't have any issues with the PA Black sliding around on my table, but with the GSR2, it does slide around on my table. If I'm playing, I do notice that the GSR2 moves. So that's my two biggest complaints with the GSR2. That doesn't happen with the PA Black. All right, so now let's move on to the glide feeling of the PA Black. Like I said, very similar to the GSR2. In fact, they're almost identical. I would say maybe the PA Black is slightly slower than the GSR2, but it's not really something that's super noticeable. If you've ever used a control pad, this is pretty much what the PA Black and GSR2 are. They're both very slow control pads, almost to the point where they're muddy, but they're not really muddy, but they are very, very slow. So you're going to get really high static friction and really high dynamic friction. Basically, you're just going to feel like the mouse is gripping onto the mouse pad as you move it around. For reference, I'm using a G Pro Superlight 2 with Tiger Ice Skates. Even with Tiger Ice Skates, these mouse pads, you can definitely still feel that they're very slow and on the control side, which is actually what I prefer, especially for tac shooters like Valorant and CS2. So if you're somebody who doesn't like really slow control pads, or you play games that are very track heavy like Apex Legends or Overwatch, maybe these pads wouldn't be for you. But I know people who play Apex Legends and Overwatch and they still prefer control pads. So it's really up to the person whether or not you like slow pads or not. Obviously, if you don't like slow mouse pads, then the PA Black isn't for you. But for me personally, I actually prefer using the GSR2 and the PA Black over my Artisan Zero lately because I just prefer having that extra control. And since I mainly play Valorant and CS2, for me personally, control pads are the way to go. But yeah, overall, I've just really been enjoying using the PA Black and also the GSR2. I've really just mainly been using these two mouse pads on my desk. Is like the Zowie GSR2 and the VAXEE PA Black are my two main mouse pads lately. And you really can't go wrong with either one. They're both pretty cheap on the budget side. Like the PA Black, like I said, is $29 USD. And then the GSR2 is $35 USD. So it really just comes down to which company you like more. But again, the only difference between these two mouse pads is that the GSR2 has stitched edges, whereas the PA Black doesn't. But the trade-off is the PA Black lies flat on your desk almost immediately, and it doesn't slide around as much as my GSR2 does. But yeah, you really can't go wrong picking up the PA Black, especially if you're on a budget. This is one of the best control pads in my opinion that you can get if you mainly play tac shooters and you prefer that control feeling. This is definitely the mouse pad to go. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Those are my thoughts on the VAXEE PA Black, a super solid control pad for a super good price as well. Only $29 USD, and like I said, this has been my main mouse pad so far for tac shooters. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I would highly recommend this pad if you're looking for a really good control pad and you don't want to spend a lot of money. Then this is a solid pickup. That's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.